and welcome back to No Free Drinks. This is Lena D, and we're back with our second part of the open reveal topic or episode about open relationships. So we had a ton to talk about in the last episode. If you haven't tuned into it yet, I'll give you a little recap. But we basically had a big bomb for our listeners.
Bombs on Baghdad.
Bombs over Baghdad.
So as you know, I have been saying in previous episodes that I'm part of an open relationship. And you've heard Wesley talk about his crazy dating stories, which would have made many people assume that he was single. However, Wesley and I are actually together, and we've been together for going on 11 years. So that was probably a lot for a lot of people. And then on top of that, we dropped that we're in an open relationship, which has been the topic of the last episode as well as this episode. Is there's still a lot of things that we can talk about, and there's a lot left to unpack. So we'll get to that. But I will say to our listeners, if there's other questions that you have, feel free to shoot us a note, and we're happy to continue to talk about open relationships, because part of why we decided to have this as a topic on our podcast and actually bring you into the fold of our lives is because I think that it's something that's very important for people to be more open-minded about, and to know that just because someone doesn't necessarily fall in line with the constructs of monogamy, that it doesn't make it a legitimate relationship. And that's why Wesley and I are here to tell our story. So very important is that in order for an open relationship to work, there must be rules. And Wesley and I do have those rules. So we want to talk about the important rules, not just because it adds, I think, a little bit of more structure to an open relationship. I think there might be the misconception that open relationships have no structure and that therefore they can't be taken seriously as committed relationships. That's not true. There is structure behind it, and sometimes probably a lot more structure than monogamous relationships have. And the other piece too is because Brock mentioned that we've been having several run-ins with people that have been a part of an open relationship as the third party.
Yes, I have.
So for people that are finding themselves in this situation, don't be alarmed. You should also be aware of these rules, because you're going to be the one that's impacted as a result of knowing or not knowing about the rules.
Right.
So I think this conversation benefits everyone, not just people in open relationships, but I think people that are single are going to have more and more run-ins with people that are in open relationships. So it's to your benefit to understand what that means and some of the questions that you should be asking that person. So we have 6 ground rules that Wesley and I have abided by since when we became open. I actually think it was that we started out with 4 rules, and then we added some on top of those, which is it just talks about the evolution of the relationship. But our very first rule is that we're basically our primary relationship. We belong to each other in terms of emotionally, and we try to make sure that we abide by that in terms of when we decide to go out, when our dates are set up, and we stay loyal to that. We don't get distracted with other people that are in our lives. So if it's a weekend and it's a date night with Wesley, I'm not going to go and try to hit up the side piece. So that's just something that we live by.
Yep. A second rule that we have is don't mess with the friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't mess with each other's friends.
We don't mess with each other's friends. Although I will put this disclaimer out there.
Oh, boy.
It's not too bad that Lena D's friends are damn cute, but...
Yes, they are.
Of course, Brock knows.
But...
to their detriment sometimes.
Yeah.
It's usually a good thing.
So, with that being said, Lena D knows who you are, because I won't say this to your face because, well, yeah. So we don't mess with each other's friends, and that would be weird as fuck. So yeah.
Yeah, friends are completely out of the picture, as well as not just like mutual friends. So like if he sees one of my friends and thinks that she's cute, it's like a no. Or if I see a friend of his, but also friends that we have, like, so my friends that have, like, we've been friends first before them finding out about our open relationship, they're also off the table. And if Wesley has a friend or a friend that's a girl or whatever, that they've known each other from when we've been dating or from school, obviously that doesn't become an option. So we tend to keep it to relatively new people. We can
New friends.
we can stay friends with the person. But we just don't want them to be friends before they get into the situation.
True.
That makes sense. Quick question / just came up with a loophole. What happens if said friend is no longer a friend? So then now a former friend. This can be a hate fuck. Does this constitute?
What do you mean? How would they not be a friend anymore?
Let's say you had a falling out.
No, that's like,
No,
that's not cool, man.
Just trying to find loopholes.
No, that's like,
You trying to be
that's a violation of,
I hate you. I'm gonna mushroom stamp you.
but that's also a violation of I think it's still a violation of the friendship, because if you walked away from the friendship, it was because of something not related to physicalities, but you still have history. So it's not about the fact that they're a friend. I think it's more of the history.
Okay.
So it's a history that you share. It complicates things. Like, I think it would be really bad if one of my friends hooked up with Wesley and then developed feelings for him, you know?
That wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Oh, God.
I'm just playing.
You'd have to mush the shit out of her.
Oh no, your ass.
Like, stay in your lane. Oh.
Right. So then it's like, it's just the history. Like, Wesley has a lot of history with my friends. I have history with some of his friends. And when we start mixing that, it's just not, it could be a recipe for disaster, not because of what Wesley might develop or what I might develop, but just because of that third person that you can't completely control. So that's why friends are off limits.
Yeah. Always have protected sex.
Always.
That's like, that's pretty obvious right there.
Exclamation point.
Yeah.
Bam.
Always have protected sex. So yeah.
Nobody wants STIs, STDs, none of that stuff.
Babies.
No babies. Definitely no babies.
My biggest fear is triplet girls. I'm like, oh God, no. Oh, fuck.
You're like, oh no, I just thought I was one, and then you get three,
three.
and then they're probably the little
What does Charlemagne the God say about unprotected sex? He's like, unprotected sex something, but it feels the best, or some shit like that.
It does feel the best, but
I mean, nobody's denying that it doesn't feel the best, but that's why you have the significant other to do that stuff with.
Yeah, you can't. You don't want to bring no. You don't want to be Usher out here in these streets. All right?
Oh man,
No.
So now he's being sued by a new chick.
Yeah.
So he settled for $1.5 million, like whatever, years ago when he slept with his stylist, who was his wife's bridesmaid. Now, because that story just came out, another chick who he had sex after that is suing him for $10 million because she just found out that obviously he had genital herpes when they had sex. So yeah, we fucking up out here.
Yo, man, when you have sweet and sour sauce leaking out your shit, you got problems.
I'm glad I don't eat sweet and sour sauce.
Got some Chipotle sauce.
No, I eat Chipotle sauce. Don't do that.
Why don't people just use the eyesight test at the very minimum?
This is the thing, though. I mean, we're going on a tangent, but bear with us here. So basically, what happened was that the woman that sued him for the initial 1.5 mil saw a green discharge coming out of his dick,
sex with him.
And then like he said, "Nah, it's nothing. I'm just a little sick or whatever," and still had
little
sex
sick.
with him. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's what she said. I was like, how?
Yo, man, when you have like fucking phlegm leaking out your shit, you got
that
issues.
is nasty. And see, that is also why I don't like having sex without the lights on, because you can't inspect shit.
I mean, she saw the fucking radioactive slime coming out of his shit. Like, what the fuck?
Right, but that's her fault. I mean,
yo, man, I'm surprised she ain't got the oral herpes, because the first time you do this with the foreplay first, that's the first part it hits your mouth.
Ugh, that's disgusting.
What that mouth do, though? Herpes. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's get back.
But tying it back to what we were talking about, we enjoy having sex way too much that we don't want to obviously harm each other.
Yeah, definitely not.
But then if one of us had something and then we wanted to, which God forbid, I hope that never happens. But if that had happened, then it also restrains our ability to be able to have sex with other people. So that completely defeats the point of being open to begin with.
That's true. All right. Okay. I think one of our rules is that we're always honest with each other, but I think we went over that, right? Being honest with each other. We always talk to each other. We always keep each other apprised of what's going on. She's like the ultimate wingman. I'll even show up like, yo, what you think about this, babe? Like, no? Oh, fuck that.
I'll help you write that? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's what's up.
It's like, yeah, that was cute. Not so much.
Not so much. Blah,
It's like,
blah.
she's ugly.
Yeah, but there's a lot of ducks out there, so I need my duck vetter right here.
It's a lot of ducks.
Yeah, I think the whole honest thing too is, and I think this is probably unique to each situation, and people that are partaking in the open relationship should be aware of it, is that the main couple always talks. They're always open with each other about either who they're seeing, what happened on the date, what they talked about, how the sex was. So you have to be prepared that it can be the gamut of every single excruciating detail, which is what I put Wesley through because I like to know all the details. So I'll ask him like a bajillion and one questions after he comes home.
Should be like, oh, how much out of a percentage? How much did you put? How much effort did you put in? Like, 30%, 40%, and I'll be like, okay, I'll increase it to like 60%.
You don't want her getting dick drunk, please.
Yeah. And then
That's
I'll
my dick.
increase it to like 100%. Then
My final form.
yeah, my ultimate form. Gotcha, bitch.
There was still more. Silly.
You must go beyond the level of Super Saiyan. Anyway,
Again. But we
Oh, this goes back to that.
comes full circle. But so I think you have to be comfortable with that as a person participating. And I have a story about one of the dates that I went on. It was with a Carl that was in an open relationship as well.
Oh, this is regular Carl. He didn't get
is
fine chocolate Carl.
No,
This is just Carl.
This is
Damn. No adjectives for this Carl.
light skinned Carl.
Basic Carl.
Basic
Hashtag basic Carl.
It's just Carl.
Carl
He did
with
send a
glasses.
dick pic though. This is a dick pic guy.
What,
This Carl.
1 to 10.
It was like a 7, 8.
Hey.
7, 8.
It was fuckable.
Rating or inches?
Oh no. Rating.
Rating, okay.
Yeah.
That's like a 4.5, 5.
It was you can't tell the actual length in a picture.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Thankfully, I don't know any part of this situation.
No, you
Yeah.
can't tell. It's just more of a matter of whether it's a beautiful penis or it's a disgusting looking penis.
What the hell?
What does that have to mean?
Yeah. What's a beautiful penis?
A
look
beautiful
like?
penis is nice and girthy. So it's nice and thick.
I'm gonna say, yeah, it got some width to it. Okay.
It's girthy.
hit all your walls.
It doesn't have to be the longest. So like I don't necessarily have to have a given ratio to consider it a beautiful penis. But it does have to have some sort of symmetry around it.
God
And
damn.
it does have to stand and it does have to
Brock's
stand
face is
straight
like,
up.
wait, what?
How many asymmetrical penises are
There's
the fuck?
you'd be surprised. There's some asymmetrical penises out
What does
there.
that even mean?
Well, you talk about like a banana or something?
Like
a real
it's
fucked up
either
banana?
it's either that the tip is thicker than the shaft, or
The fuck?
or the tip is like really really narrow and then the shaft gets like super big.
I feel so bad because there's nothing you could do. Like, not like we could just swap out the dick we're born with. Like, this is what you've been dealt with. The size, the girth, the proportions. Like, this is the dick you got. You do the best you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like that stuff is out there. I slept with a guy once that his dick like hung to the left. And that shit never hit the right spot. It was so frustrating.
Got a banana dick. She goes to the left.
Jesus.
So this symmetry.
It's important.
So
You can't tell this shit by just looking at a dude's bulge.
Fucking Lena D running these pictures through her fucking algorithm. Like, all right.
oh my god. Yo.
Percentage match. This will work inside of me.
My insides hurt.
And then, of course, the best part is the head. So the head has to have some sort of mushroom shape. It can't just, like I said, the thin one at the top. It usually just looks like a little, I don't know, it looks like a little tack or something. I don't know. It just looks like a retarded, like
tacky mushroom
lid or something. I just can't with those. I need like a head that has some shape and some girth as well.
Oh man.
So that's what a beautiful penis looks like. It's symmetrical. It's nice and girthy. It doesn't have to be a specific length, but you want it to be long enough that, of course, it's going to hit my G spot.
Hey.
And then the head has to be kind of like a little toad, like Toad in Super Mario.
I feel like people ask me what the fuck my dick size is.
So if women could draw penises, that's what they were looking like.
So that to me is the beautiful penis. Everybody has like their own definitions. Actually, some people don't think of penises as beautiful, which I think is kind of sad. But
no, you can do tricks and shit with it. Just make a jump.
Yeah. You hang a towel on it.
I'm always surprised when women surprised you could do that. It's like make a jump. Like, oh my god, you could do that. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, we fucking do tricks and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, women can do tricks with their vagina too.
If you do your Kegel exercises, women do your Kegel exercises.
Please.
Your man or next person you have sex with will thank you.
Please.
Yes. That's actually a whole other topic.
Yeah, we'll give you oral tips on another episode.
Yeah. But bringing it back to Carl with the dick pic, he had a nice penis. But with him, he was in an open relationship. And part of the conversation that we had on that date is that we talked about the rules that he has in place with his significant other. And I talked about the rules that I have in place with Wesley. And it was important for us to understand that. And he was very open. He's like, yes, my girlfriend vets the girls that I go on dates with. So if I'm on a date with a girl, it means that she said yes, that she's partially attracted to her as well. He talked about whether or not I was fair game for a threesome. And I was just like, well, in this case, not really. Because at that point, our rules were, hey, we're just going to date people independently. And if we get a threesome, Wesley has to be in a threesome. So I can't just go and have a threesome.
It's now a foursome.
It's not a foursome, yeah. Okay. And I mean, that's something that he also said too. He's like, no, it's not an orgy kind of thing. Because at that point, a foursome kind of might as well be an orgy. So those are the types of things that we talked about. And it's completely normal. So people should expect when they're going out on a date with somebody that's in an open relationship, like these are questions that you can ask and they should be very open about it. Like, what are the rules? Like, what does your girlfriend or boyfriend say? Can you hook up just you and I, or is the hookup only with the third party involved? So these are questions that you should always ask. And of course, the honesty piece, that expect them to be very honest with each other and don't take it personally that because this person went on a date with you, then he's going to go back and tell the significant other that he's like kissing and telling and all that stuff. It's just part of their rules. And if you want to be a part of that, you have to respect that.
Gotcha. Feels as though I got to learn how to date all over again now. Like, different world.
It's not that different. Last rule is, let's see here. What's our
we have two more rules.
Two more rules. Oh, okay. So one of the rules is like, I don't dedicate weekend time to the side piece. So yeah, that's also very like a given. Like, they'll spend more time with the chick when you have off time than you do with your significant other. So
unless I'm out of town or we have commitments that are completely unrelated to each other, because we do have our separate lives.
Yeah, and this one I gotta go 150%. Make sure they come back.
So there are some weekends, but of course we discuss all that stuff. So we know our calendars. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be out of town this week. Do you want to do this?
That's probably all mind fuck to all the friends that are listening to this right now. They're like, oh, what the fuck? I'm getting all this new insight. What's going on?
They're probably taking notes. They won't tell us, but they're probably taking notes.
Yeah, man. a lot of Lena D's friends are mad conservative. They always they're judgy sometimes. So it's like hit or miss. Like one of them be like, "Oh yeah, I'm up for it," blah blah, and another one's like, "I can't get down with that." Like, all right, you know what? Go that way.
But we get down with it, and I mean, it works for us.
Yeah, it works for us.
So, and then the other thing too, it's whenever the other person is on a date or with the other person, we are respectful of not texting each other all the time. Obviously, that's
shit. I'm playing video games the whole time. Just
that's dating time and stuff. So, like, if you're out with somebody else, I don't try to bug you unless it's like an emergency, and vice versa.
Do you guys use each other as a potential out? Let's say it's a bad date. Do you guys have like a code or something set up?
I've had bad dates and I haven't done that before.
Uh-huh.
So, I was on this one date with some Asian chick. She was boring as fuck. I'm sorry. I'm so blunt. I'm sorry, but yeah, I didn't use her as an out. I wanted to. That was one date I should have been like, "Yo, can you give me a call? Get me out of this fucking date. She's boring." But I didn't do that. I let the date take its, natural but yet unnecessary course. So
I have reached out to Wesley in the middle of bad dates and said, "This is awful. What can I do?" Or I actually did ask him for advice one time where I was dating. I was on a date with a woman, and the date was supposed to be cocktails and then go to a dance class together.
Ooh, describe what she looks like, please.
Hey.
Well, she was a catfish.
Oh, no.
First of all.
Actually, no. I kind of still want to know. All right, what was she supposed to look like, or what did she look like?
So she's Italian,
Hey.
long, flowy, dark hair.
I love them ravens.
She
dark
had
features.
she had big boobs,
Well,
small
that's what I'm
waist,
talking
big
about.
ass.
Yes.
So she looked really, really good. And I was like, "Oh wow!" It was like she has the ass and the boobs, because usually most women will have the boobs and then not have an ass.
Yeah, usually get one or two. You don't get the
you don't
trifecta.
get
So I was really excited to go on the date with her, and I went with her, and she had boobs, but then her stomach was bigger than her ass.
What? Oh man.
I got Equinox Day passes for her. I got her.
I got Equinox Day pass.
And the thing was that she was like, "Oh, my pictures are pretty current. I'm just a little bit overweight." And then,
a little bit?
And I was like, "Well, if she's a little bit overweight, maybe she has like a little tummy or something." But I still expected your ass to be bigger than everything else that was on you. So I was I was disappointed about that, but I wasn't gonna just leave her. So we still had drinks. We were talking and stuff. But then she started smoking in the middle of the date.
Yo.
Like cigarettes or the ganja?
Cigarettes, like smoking cigarettes. And I don't like smokers. And it was just a big turn off. And it's not like she asked, "Oh, do you mind if I smoke?" She just kind of like, "Oh, I have to smoke because I'm so stressed out." So
that's like rude on multiple levels.
Yeah, she's stressed
You're on a
out.
date with me and you're saying you're stressed out, and then you're smoking.
And we were supposed to be going to a dance class. So I'm like, "Why are you lighting up a cigarette before we're going to go dance?" And it was an intense, like, soca class.
Jesus.
Oh, and this was the other thing, too. I'm not remembering all this stuff. Before that, she had tried to get me to pay for her ticket. She was like, "Oh, can I pay? Can you just buy me the ticket and I'll pay you back?" And I was like, "They have a website."
I wasn't born yesterday, motherfucker. Cut that shit out.
So there was that. Then there was the catfish piece. Then there was the smoking. And then we were at the dance class. And then we were talking. And then all of a sudden she starts talking to someone else. And I'm just like, "Well, okay, we were being overly friendly." And at that point in my head, I was like, "Okay, this is done." And then I'm texting Wesley and I'm just like, "Class is about to let out. What if she tries to kiss me? I don't want to kiss her. What do I do?"
Just be like, you don't ride like that on the first date.
And then
That's what I said.
and then I'm telling her that I'm trying to get home. So she's like, "Do you mind if we stop by the Dunkin' Donuts?"
This is the fucking weirdest date ever.
So
What is going on?
I'm just like,
man.
"Okay." She's like, "I just need some milk."
He needs some milk.
Cambodian. The smell.
You made my day.
Clink, clink, clink. What is going on?
I was
this
just
date?
like, you need milk. So then she goes and she buys this milk. And then she gets the milk. And I was like, all right, let's start walking. And then she's like, wait, I need another cigarette.
God.
And then she blows up. And I was just like, oh my God. And at this point, I was just like, look, I really got to go. It's late. And then she's like, oh, let's just walk to the train together. So we walked to the train. And then I was just like, it's nice meeting you. Bye. And then I just walked off.
Oh, she was trying to use it as an end to kiss you. You just
Yeah, I was like not having
exit
that.
stage left. Good job.
But, and then I texted Wesley and I was like, hooray, I was able to avoid it. So I've done stuff like that where the date isn't going well and I'll bitch and moan about it. But Wesley usually doesn't reach out to me.
No.
I'll just hear it when he comes back home.
Yeah, just try to tough that shit out. I know I ain't gonna kiss you, so let's move on.
All right. Any more rules, guys?
What's the last rule? Because I don't.
Oh, yes, the last and most important rule.
What?
We never have sex with the side pieces in our home.
No, we don't do that shit. This is my house. I run this. I pay the fucking bills. We don't do that shit here. Anyway.
Yeah, we much rather a hotel get booked.
Yeah.
Even if the other person isn't going to be here, we'd much rather that than have people up in our personal space.
Nah, you don't want to know where people live at and stuff, because I've had instances where I'm like, oh, I want to come to your place, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't think so. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, swerve.
Yeah. No, how about we just go down the street somewhere else? So, nah.
Yeah, you got to nip that in the bud.
Nah.
I've had one of mine say, oh, are you sure we can't use your place? Nope. Can't do that.
Nope.
So
0 chance of that happening. I'll go to your place. You got roaches? Because if you got roaches, I ain't trying to go to your place.
roaches.
I got something worse than roaches.
Yeah.
Parents.
I've dated a couple of those too. So
yeah, my parents gonna be home. You cool with that?
Nope.
Uber?
Wait, when was I going to be able
Uber
to
home?
mushroom stamp you on your forehead? When was that going to happen? Not with your parents around.
And I'm definitely not meeting parents.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Can't teabag you around parents. It's just a weird experience.
But those are our rules. And I'm sure other open couples have other rules too that aren't on our list. And the rules can always change and they can always be added to or adapted. So that's why communication is really important and being honest. So,
yeah.
That's fair. So, on the last episode, we mentioned how I was not against, for myself, I personally could not be in an open relationship.
Why not, motherfucker?
I don't know. It's weird. There's a lot of things I'm not traditional at all. Whether it's dating, whether it's friends, I don't know. I do play by my own rules, but I feel as though, and then you kind of alluded to, Wesley, where the gray area is your playground.
Yeah.
I'm more of a black and white person. If I'm single, I'm just going to try to get as much cheeks as I can. I'm enjoy it. I don't have to have this whole check-in thing or dedicated date nights. Keep in touch. We'll do our thing or whoever.
Right.
Have a good time. But when I'm in a relationship, I want to date that one person.
Right. Which
for me sounds a little fucked up. For a relationship, for me, sometimes is kind of like a saving grace. So it's kind of saves you for myself, where it's all right, cool. I can't.
Oh my goodness.
I can't do nothing outside this relationship. It's when I'm single, I try to do the most. I was all right, how much cheeks can I get? Where I'm in a relationship, it's all right, cool. I'm seeing this one person, sporting events, bars, traveling, whatever. It's just us doing stuff together. And I am somewhat / pretty emotional as well in relationships. And I don't think I can handle the emotional detachment it comes with an open relationship, which is weird because friends with benefits, I'm a fucking professional with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. And I think it boils down to simplistic level, I don't like sharing. Like,
Okay.
I don't like visualize and share it. I don't like, so like your rules wouldn't work for me because the whole honesty thing, like I wouldn't want to know. Like I would have to come up with like completely different rules where it's like, we have like dedicated days where we could do our thing but we just don't tell each other, but we practice safe sex with other people. But
Right.
yeah, the jealousy and visions of sharing, and I just can't mentally take that.
It's interesting though, because you're saying that the whole like sharing piece is and that you get emotional with it, right? So you're emotionally tied then to that person, and because of that, you can't share them.
100%.
But I guess on the flip side, what I would say is that when you're not with someone, you're still able to do the same things. And technically, even though you're going around having as much sex as you want,
Yeah.
like the women themselves might think that you're just having sex with them. So it's all about
Perspective.
your perspective.
It is, which is comes back to like the theme we've had on most episodes about communication, where like if the woman posed that question to me, are you seeing anyone else? Like we have that discussion. If you're not okay with me seeing other people, maybe I feel the same way too. Maybe I want to be exclusive, or maybe I don't want to be exclusive with you. We'll have that discussion. Whereas our relationship is a lot more communication, a lot more honesty, a lot more transparency. So I can't hide from it. Whereas you single, you could kind of hide, you can omit,
Right.
you can delay. But a relationship, a healthy relationship, like stuff is pretty real time. So I can't use the same techniques being single in an open relationship to hide from that emotional attachment. I do become pretty emotionally attached to someone I'm dating. So
Gotcha.
I haven't mastered that yet.
So is also part of your fear that because you're emotionally attached with one person, so obviously there's an emotional side of you that's been opened up. Do you think that there's risk that if you started getting involved with other people, that you would also develop emotional attachments to them, and that you don't want to have that in more than one person?
I actually think it's the flip. I think I'm worried that she would become emotionally attached to someone and leave me, which I don't think is necessarily a knock on me being inadequate in any way, shape, or form. It's just different connection.
It's a different type of vulnerability.
Yeah, and I already feel as though I'm pretty vulnerable in relationships. I don't, at least not at this stage of my life, I don't think I can handle an additional level of vulnerability, even with the rules.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I would say that even with us being in an open relationship, we still have a healthy amount of normal relationship behaviors, I guess.
Oh, no, 100% you guys do it.
Yeah.
Just fucking balls of steel.
No, but like we both still get jealous about certain things.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, like I get jealous if I feel that Wesley is doing certain things that he normally wouldn't do when we're going out. Or
going 200%.
Or if he's going super extra with somebody that I think is basic and doesn't deserve it. So there's things like there's little things that we end up talking about and like disagreeing on, and like I'll get jealous or things like that. And then Wesley does get jealous too sometimes.
Yeah, I do. From time to time. You know, it's been known to happen.
So I think it's not that the jealousy factor goes away. I think it still stays there. It's just, I think that vulnerability, I have no doubt in my mind that I'm 100% confident that Wesley would never leave me for someone else, because I know that our connection is that deep. And so but it takes time to get there with someone.
That's what I mean. My next question, like, is it because you guys have dated so long and then built up that strong, solid foundation? Then, okay, like
Yeah.
I've been thinking.
I
about
mean, I
this.
think about it like this. We lasted more than most marriages, so and we haven't even been married.
100%.
Like Britney Spears, all three of Kim Kardashian's fucking things.
Although I wouldn't have mind
Nicole
being
Kidman and
second
fucking
one.
Tom Cruise, they done. Who else? I can't think of anybody else right now. Fucking Amber Rose and old dude.
Oh, Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, I think old dude is stupid though. Amber Rose is kind of fine. I don't know.
She's one of the few.
She's one of the few that keeps it real.
Bald headed women I like.
Yeah.
Bad as shit.
What the fuck? Anyway.
I think that does have a role to play with it because I've seen a couple of these memes out there. A year is long enough to, like, there's been memes, there's articles that within a year you should know that you want to marry someone.
Oh, you're talking about the same article we read recently.
I don't remember the title of the article.
I wish I remembered it too now.
A year?
I'm like, you don't even know friends in a year, let alone someone you're romantically involved in and want to spend the rest of your life with potentially.
Right. So, I mean, there's that piece of it where
people who are out there for 2 years and they're like, oh,
it's like you
I
never
like
know.
them, but I don't even know what I want to do.
But the thing is, it's not just knowing the person, like, oh, they're consistent. They text me back. They take me on nice days. Like, that's all superficial.
Yeah.
But really knowing someone and knowing them deeper in a way that they talk to you about things that they've never talked to anyone about. That's taken years for it to happen between Wesley and I. I would say maybe 5-6 years in.
Yeah, something like that.
And that isn't devalue like the trust and the level of conversation and communication between us. It just means that sometimes you're just not ready to talk about certain things. So when people say that a year is enough to know that you want to marry someone, it's really not. And I think that in order to really have a relationship that adapts and that you're able to be with someone and understand that, hey, maybe this monogamy thing isn't for us, you have to have had various experiences in very dark spaces sometimes and being able to come back from those. So yeah, you can't do all that shit in a year. But I would say that because of that, we're both confident that at the end of the day, we're with each other because we want to be with each other. And with that, there's very little constraints around what we can talk to each other about. Or there's, in terms of like expectations of like, oh, I expect you to put a ring on it. Like that doesn't exist because it's kind of how somebody that's, and this is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but someone that's immortal is in no rush to like do everything because they know they have all the time in their life to do it. So the way that I feel is that I'm in no rush to get married because whether I get married next year or I get married 5 years from now, I still know that I've already found the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. In a construct of a title and a certificate or a contract or whatever it is, I don't need that to demonstrate to me and to us that we're committed to each other. So I think that's kind of what it comes down to at the end of the day.
I also blame my parents.
Sorry,
I was gonna say like just growing up, my parents have been together now 40-ish years since they're like 16.
Oh damn!
Small Caribbean island, and then like just growing up with that, like just that like steady, just the two of you. I was like, oh, I want that. I got rid of most of that. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of fucking boring. I'm gonna fuck around a bit. That's a little boring. But like, yeah, probably the one thing I did keep from it is the monogamy. But I've been kind of like kicking that monogamyness down the road. But yeah, like they've been together forever, and like I do want that. And I guess another part of it is outside judgment. Mm-hmm. So like what if a close friend finds out? What if my parents find out? Like, what if my brothers find out? So I mean, it's like that's another part of it.
Our friends are listening to this podcast right now, whether they know or don't know. I mean, I never take, I'm always of the mindset that you're not as bad as what people say you are, and you're not as always good as what people say you are either. So I always take that and I use that to like kind of direct me to the decisions that I make. So with that being said, like if you don't want to be my friend anymore, you can kick rocks and go to hell. Like I don't give a fuck. Either way, like if you choose if the route that you choose is to disconnect from me because like you found out something that didn't fit your image of who I was, then fuck you. Like no, being honest, like fuck you. I don't give a fuck about you like that. Then like go. Do what you got to do to get rid of that or whatever. And if you want to come back and be my friend, cool. If you don't, hey man, life goes on. Shit is bittersweet, but hey, I got to keep moving. Got to keep pushing.
But the other thing too, though, that I just realized with what you're saying and the fears that you have and the reason why you wouldn't be able to be in an open relationship, a part of that is also the other person. So not only do you need to find the right person for you in a monogamous relationship, but that person has to also be the right person to not be in a monogamous relationship with you.
Ooh. Shit. That's some. Okay. Okay, Aristotle. That's some.
So I think that a lot of the reasons why you're saying that it couldn't work for you is because you've only experienced people that could almost be in a monogamous relationship with you.
And that, yes, I think that probably is the biggest thing holding me back. So, yeah, the longest relationship has been 1 year if you count breaks. So, yes, I've never been able to build something where like that level of comfort, that level of transparency, that level of honesty with someone to then where we could talk about like deeper stuff, whether it's open relationship, whether it's traveling, like just something where like we're just fuck everyone else. Like we're just doing what we want to do. So no, I've been pretty much still stuck on the ground floor talking about like just basic stuff. Like, oh, kids, yes and no. Oh, marriage, yes and no. Like, or stuff like that.
I'll even go a step further and say like, and this is no judgment, and this is not a generalization, but this is what I've noticed with like with most women is that in my experience, I've seen and heard that most women want an honest person. That's all good, but when the honesty and the truth hits them directly,
starts flowing, they're like,
the fucking face, they cannot handle it.
Never.
And that's been my experience.
Not 100%. Like
I would say for most of my relationships before Lena D, it's always been that. Oh, I want you to be honest and be truthful. Blah blah. Okay. You want 100% unfiltered Wesley? I got you. No. I need you to hold that back a little. All right. Well, I thought you could handle it. Like I've gotten into confrontations with like some of Lena D's friends because I said some honest, real shit that they just couldn't handle. And it was just like, oh, he's being rude. He's being blah, blah, blah. Like, fuck all that. Like if that's how you feel, like then you couldn't handle the honest part of the friendship that you supposedly cherished. So,
yeah. So, I mean, it's all about knowing yourself and knowing that other person beyond the surface. And sometimes you only get to the surface. You don't get deeper than that.
Yeah, I'm still stuck at the surface level. So. I should probably work on getting someone past that level first before I start to think about open relationship, but maybe one day.
Maybe
one day.
Average lifespan's like 80 minutes, so 80 years, so I got time.
You got all the time in the world. Man, you can bust nuts to you like 76.
If I say, I can have some kids at like 76.
He's probably having kids right now. Let's be talking.
But at the end of the day, really, I hope that us bringing light to open relationships and that they can be functional and that they do exist and they're not some taboo subject has actually pushed people a little bit further outside of their comfort zones just to learn a little bit more about it. And this is also meant to just demonstrate the whole idea around social constructs and what we've grown up with and what we've seen and what we, in a way, hold ourselves to live by
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be the way or that that's the only way.
Right.
And in thinking about open relationships and talking about the evolution of monogamy, there was actually a great book that I found called Sex at Dawn that just talks about how, as a society, we have evolved to have monogamy be the accepted construct. But prior to when there was actual societies and agriculture, people were actually polygamous. Like there was no such thing as like a contract of marriage. So there is history out there that puts that humans haven't always been monogamous. So I would encourage people to just do a little bit more research, think about it, especially people that are struggling to find like that one person that they want to be with. I think it's just being more open-minded about what else is out there, even if it's not for you, but at least do the research first and inform yourself about it before you completely write it off. And open relationships are just as honest and take just as much work as monogamous relationships do. So it's all about communication and honesty, being open and collaborative and respecting each other, and always knowing what the boundaries are and making sure that you're thinking about the other person and not doing things selfishly.
All right, everybody, just let us know what you think about what we talked about in this episode. If you disagree with anything that we said or agree with everything that we've said, or if you have stories about being in open relationships or if they've worked out or not, just email us at nofreedrinks@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on our Contact Us form on our site at nofreedrinks.com. All right.
And thanks for joining us today at No Free Drinks. Don't forget that our episodes release every single Wednesday, of course, hump day. But the easiest way to stay in touch with us is to just subscribe to our podcast. And you can find us by searching No Free Drinks on your favorite podcast app. But for my Apple users, show us some love, especially if you love what you're hearing. Rate us and leave us a review. And specifically, if you're a big social media user, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. You can find us at _NoFreeDrinks. And in our bio, we have a link where you can easily connect to wherever we're playing our podcast, as well as our other social media platforms. And we hope that you loved today. Thanks for coming. I hope it was good for you too. This is Lena D. Kisses.
This is Wesley. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey guys, this is Brock. Make love, not babies.